So, welcome to a Guzzling Gourmet baking session, and we're going to make some Rocky Road. Now, I stumbled across this ages ago, this recipe, and then recently, I can't remember how, it just came up again, and this is from the chefs at Shamwari Game Reserve, where we once stayed, and they produced a book, and they released on their website this romantic Rocky Road recipe in time for Valentine's Day. Well, it's not Valentine's, is it? But anyway, so we're going to use the recipe, and I've made a slight adjustment to it, which we'll go through in a minute. Now, at the moment, on here, melting down, I've got 375 grams of butter. You want that melted. You want some vanilla essence, 900 grams of icing sugar. There's a lot of icing sugar. 200 grams of glacé cherries. Conveniently, they come in that size. 200 grams of mini marshmallows, but I've cut them back to 160 grams, and then I'm going to put in some little chocolate chips, and I've got 60 grams of them. Okay, I just thought we'd add a little bit more chocolate into it, but if you don't want to put that, you could just put 200 grams of mini marshmallows. 18 grams of cocoa powder. I'm using dark, you can use ordinary, and we want 2 packets, 200 grams, we want 400 grams of ginger biscuits. I love ginger biscuits, me. We want 400 grams of ginger biscuits, which happens to be 2 packs of what we buy. Okay, and then you want a couple of eggs, and that's all you're going to want. So, I'm just going to wait until that's all melted, and then we'll start making it. So, butter's melted. So, in preparation for assembling everything, what I started doing is breaking up the ginger biscuits. Now, we don't want them crushed up completely. We want chunks of it, okay, but obviously not too big a chunks. So what I've done is I've been putting them in this plastic bag just so we don't make a mess anyway. And I'm just breaking them up by hand. And then we'll put that to one side, and we'll start mixing the main ingredients together. So, into my mixer, I'm going to add that cocoa powder, and actually I might take that off of there, and I'm going to add in that 900 grams of icing sugar. So, in gone the icing sugar, I'm now going to add in that butter, and we're then just going to whisk this together. And we're just going to whisk that together until it's all nicely mixed in. So you can see there that's quite well mixed in together. What am I looking for now? Eggs. So what we're going to want is 2 eggs, which I'm just going to lightly beat together first, and then we'll add them to that mixture. So that's fairly well mixed in. Okay, now if at this point it seems a bit thick, you can add some boiling water gradually. We want it runny, okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a couple of mils. Oh, I'll get the lid off. I don't think I've opened this one before. A couple of mils of vanilla essence. Okay, and then we're just going to mix that in as well. So I'm now going to put in those chocolate chips, the mini marshmallows, and my glacé cherries. Now you can chop them up if you want, but I'm not going to bother. We're just going to put them in whole. Now you might notice that I've removed the whisk attachment, because obviously this ain't going to work very well, the whisk, and I'm just going to put the beater in there, and we're just now going to just gently combine them all together. So the final thing to go in a bit will be the biscuits. So now in's going to go my biscuits. And essentially, once that's all mixed in together, we'll be then ready to tray it out. So that's all mixed in. And so what we're now going to do is, and this is obviously going to take up a couple of trays, but I'm now just going to spoon this into a tray. If you've got a nice square one, I mean, unfortunately I haven't got anything quite deep enough other than this Pyrex one. But what you want to do is now just chuck it in the tray and smooth it out, okay, pressing it down, make sure it's all nice and evenly spread out, and depending on how thick you want your bars, depends how thick you want to lay that. So I'm just going to finish that off. So there we go, that's all in there. It looks like it's all nice and evenly spread. Actually I've got a bit of gap under there, might just adjust that. But we're now going to put that into the fridge and it'll stay in there until it's set, and at which point we can then bring it out and we can cut it up. So I'll see you in a little while. So, not quite fully set yet, but it's been in the fridge a few hours now. So I've cut it up into slabs. You can make it smaller if you want. They are very obviously sweet, a lot of sugar in it. Let's try that. Crunch of the biscuit. Got a bit of cherry in that one. Yep, definitely cherry in that one. Chocolatey, not too chocolatey. Very, very rich though. So, your romantic Rocky Road, courtesy of the chefs at Shamwari Game Reserve in South Africa. Thanks very much, Shamwari. I'm enjoying this.